Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Happy Father's Day. Happy AMICO Father's Day out there. Guys, for those of you who have been following this story, this is for you, right? These AMICO videos are no longer the attention getters that they used to be, right? Here in my channel, since last month, they're not even in my top 10, right? They're not what people come to my channel for anymore. They were at the beginning, but that hasn't been the case now here for a while. People prefer the nostalgia content, the other type of content. But for those of you and those of us who are hooked on this story that we need to see it through, right? It's been 5 years in the making and we just need to know where it's going to end. We keep on getting these episodes of just complete lunacy, right? Whenever you think the AMICO story can't get any stupider, it just gets even crazier. Now, let me say this. A lot of people are getting their hopes up with these AMICO pilot units are calling them out now. These are really fantasy units, guys. These are old units. And of the unboxing of the Atari Creep, the only thing you should have taken notice of are these numbers right here. What this is telling you is that these are old units, and let me tell you why. Number one, Intellivision no longer has an agreement with HDMI. It's been canceled, right? So these had to be put together last year. I don't think, right, or I want to think that these guys aren't making up mock-up units right now, violating terms of service by putting symbols on there of institutions that they don't have agreements with, because that would be a violation. You can't put these on there if you don't have agreements with these companies. So I believe these are old. You can't use the FCC, you can't use CE, you can't use any of those things if you're not in approval. Now you got people like the Mike Mullises of the world there that are the perfect embodiment of uneducated ignorance, right, when it comes to manufacturing. And I mean that in a manufacturing sense. He doesn't have the chops to do what he's claiming to be doing here, nor does anybody else. There are no engineers here, right? There's no Einsteins in the manufacturing business testing these consoles out. Nor they should be, right? This is being done at the wrong time for the only reason of buying time, right? You don't test these units at this level at this point. Why? Because they're not retail ready. If they were retail ready, then you can have gamers, right? Mike Mullis is a gamer. He might have been a journalist back in the day. If you want to give him a little bit of credibility because of that, okay. But nobody else has any qualifications in a manufacturing sense to be doing any type of QC on these units because they're not retail ready, right? That's why you don't have any registration numbers. Testing these units for software right now is like doing a smog check on a car that you can't afford to register, right? And when you have, diehard fans, fanatics at this point of a console, in semi-official, agents of the company roles, they make claims like these guys are claiming here, right? Mike Mullis claims that this is approved. This is not approved, or you would have registration numbers there, right? These are not approved. It doesn't matter what he says or what he infers or what he thinks. They're not, or they would have the stickers on there, right? And this is one that Atari Creep just got. If they were approved, he would have gotten one with official stickers. What does that tell you? Well, we need money to get those approvals, right? Because if you're making units right now, putting those stickers on there with those symbols, that would be in violation of all these organizations. You can't use their symbols if you don't have approval. And the reason that you don't have approval is the same reason you lost $1 million in a manufacturing contract, because they weren't ready to go. They never got approval. They signed a PO to make these units without the units being approved. Lunacy, I know, right? But that's the legacy of the former CEO. The best I can do here for you guys is tell you the truth. Now let's look at the numbers, right? What would you need to get these done, to get approval? Well, to get a decent number, right? You would have to want to sell at least 100 to 300,000 units, right, to make some sort of decent manufacturing run. Let's look at the high number, 300,000 units. Well, you're not going to make money at this price point because you're giving $100 to Sadesh per unit. Realistically, you would have to sell these at $500 a piece, right? $499.99. Now, it doesn't matter what the old man cringe community tells you, we would pay the $500 for the unit. We would, right? People want them that bad. Degenerates like myself, game hoarders, would pay. The problem is there's not 300,000 of us. There might be, 3,000, but not 300,000, which is the number you would need. Now, let me ask you, who do you think is going to put up the money to make, whether it's 100,000 units or 300,000 units ahead of time, knowing that you might lose everything? There's not many people out there that would do that. At 300, at 300,000 units, at 500 a piece, you would raise $15 million, and that's not profit. That would give you enough money to run the line, right, and hopefully get your money back. Who is willing to do that? Nobody. Nobody in their right mind. Not in this market. If iArcade can't raise that kind of money with a product that was existing, okay, existing product running with a store, with games, with customers, with employees, if they can't raise that kind of money, what do you think is going to happen to a television that is just famous, absolutely famous, for what I very early termed over-promising and under-delivering, right? It was just synonymous with a clown show when it comes to manufacturing, with being synonymous for not performing, for being synonymous for wasting investors' money. Who do you think is going to put money in that? Nobody. That's why you have to do AMICO Home. That's why you need to start selling off properties. And what about the investors? The investors, let me tell you, you guys are so, and I mean so screwed. Absolutely screwed. 9,400 investors made about 15 to 17, whatever it was, millions. Let me tell you guys, from speaking from a few investors, let me tell you, a lot of them would do it again. It doesn't matter what you think of Tommy Tallarico. From back in the day, at least in people of my age, right, which are a lot of these investors, he does have 9,400 devoted fans. Not all of them, right? But you look at the numbers. Let's say somebody like Smash JT. Let's say Smash JT decided to sue, right? Who is he going to sue? He's got to sue Fig Republic, who is going under. But he would have to put a $5,000 deposit down and probably end up spending like $15,000 in order to sue them. And let's say, by the grace of God, he does win. Where's he going to get the money from? Okay, so he wins his $10,000 plus the $15,000 in attorney's fees. Who's going to give him the money? If Fig isn't around by the time the lawsuit is over, because these things can last for years, right? We know Intellivision can't give him his money because they don't have any. They can't even give $100 refunds, right? That's the status of all these investors. So what they're doing is they're making time run out till nobody gives a shit anymore, right? Till nobody gives a shit. And how can I tell you this? Just look at the numbers. AMICO videos are not even in my top 10 anymore. Whether it's Tommy Tallarico or anybody, they don't even rank in my top 10 of videos now. So the story is ending. Less and less people are interested, which means less awareness. And eventually it's all going to go away. The money's going to be gone. There's not going to be any consoles. Nobody's going to spend the money to evaluate these, have them tested, and make them retail ready. This project, no matter what they're telling you, is dead. All these pilot units, all these fantasy units, all this mumbo jumbo, all this talk is just talk. It's just fantasy. Until you see registration numbers, this is all mental masturbation. It doesn't matter what Mike Mullis says. It doesn't matter what DJC says. It doesn't matter what the Atari Creep says or doesn't say. I'm sure they all want the console to come out, just like the rest of the Old Man Cringe community. I want the console to come out. But reality is reality. And the reality is that these consoles are not retail ready, nor will they ever be, because it's not possible to make these consoles without losing millions of dollars. Those are the facts. That's what I can give you for Father's Day. But hey, you can watch the clown show go on. That's the enjoyable part. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.